Welcome. Make yourself comfortable, won't you? I want to tell you a story.
Greetings, invaders. My name is Scott. This is Book Invasion. Thanks for hanging out. Today we're going to be talking about one of my most anticipated releases of the year of 2020, which was The Loop by Jeremy Robert Johnson. Now, this was my first read by Mr. Johnson. His other book, Skullcrack City, has been hailed as like a cult classic, great novel. However, it is out of print, and I have been searching for it for a reasonable price on the interwebs for a long time. I've been wanting to get my hands on that book and read it for a while, but it is not in print. And he says he may be republishing it in 2021. Anyway, so when The Loop came out, I jumped right on it. I asked Saga Press for an advance copy, which is this. Thank you to Saga Press for my review copy. But I also went ahead and got the audio of it. So really, this is the combo. Physical, audio, book review. Who really cares? Same thing. Stranger Things meets World War Z in this heart-racing conspiracy thriller as a lonely young woman teams up with a group of fellow outcasts to survive the night in a town overcome by a science experiment gone wrong. Dun dun dun. So we're in a small town named Turner Falls, and we meet our main character, Lucy, and they're high school students. So Lucy's in school. She has a pal named Buckets, which his real name is Bakit something, but everyone calls him Bucket. And Lucy has a nickname too called Loogie, something like that. So there's a lot of sophomoric high school name calling and those type of dynamics in the book about the rich kids and so on, like in the beginning, before all hell breaks loose. So you get a feel, and you're thrown into this small town high school. You have Lucy and Buckets kind of hanging out in class. When suddenly things happen, and the book kicks off with a brutal, kickstart right from the get-go. And yes, there's a lot of gore and violence in this book, which is awesome, and I loved it. And while there are also kind of sci-fi elements to this, the sci-fi really is just kind of controlling the level of horror and the amount of quote-unquote brainwashing that kind of goes in. So the loop here refers to, this feedback loop, I suppose, or this sensatory loop that's getting into these kids in this small town and making them do crazy things. And apparently it's impacting everyone at different levels. So as the story progresses, so the first intro to the story, you would think people would just lose their minds and freak out after they've witnessed something like this. But instead they kind of hang out and go to a party and see their friends and so on and so forth while they're grappling with the horrific thing that they have just witnessed. So things get even stranger and even more brutal in this party scene, which happens in a cave, which was crazy. So yes, while this had a bit of a Stranger Things feel, where there's a giant corporation that moves into a small town, and suddenly people start acting weird, there's shady reports of things happening, government cover-ups, unidentified helicopters flying overhead, people saying strange things, seeing strange things, or kind of having those possessed out-of-body experiences, but it feels more something technological than it is ethereal or ghostly. So that's kind of where the sci-fi elements come in. The story evolves and progresses to where the main characters come across someone who had actually worked for the company at some point, and in there you kind of get this digest from his point of view about what his research was, how it had operated, and what we never expected it to happen like this. What have we done? It's that Jurassic Park moments where you only thought about whether or not you could, not that you should. And so there were times like that. There were chase scenes, there were a lot of action scenes, there were battles, there were fights, there were car chases, there were brutal deaths and dismemberments and guts and things like that flying, all the good stuff you love in a good horror movie. What I felt like, and maybe somebody will get this reference, but if you've ever seen the movie Pontypool, and Pontypool is like kind of a weird, crazy movie, but it's something where it's a horror movie where people are shacked up in some radio station studio building, and meanwhile people outside the studio and the radio station are kind of going bonkers and crazy once they hear this loop of these words that are happening in their mind, and then things start going crazy. So anyway, if you like this book, go watch the movie Pontypool. You might like it. But as my first experience with Jeremy Robert Johnson, I really, really enjoyed this. This is a good sci-fi horror book, which is not scary. It's just brutal and awesome. I really liked it. Not to mention, so my one grievance with this is the cover art. It stands out. It's great. It's fantastic as far as eye-catching on a shelf. But I really don't like the cover art for this book. I really liked. Go look at the cover art for Skullcrack City. Look at the cover art for this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. But this, I mean, lightning bolts and a red background. There could have been a lot more awesome stuff to happen with this book. It doesn't lend credence to the epicness that happens inside of it. So all in all, the feeling you'll get from this book is a lot of action, a lot of cringy gore moments, and great movie adaptation points of death. And the way he describes some of these things was really well done. It left you satisfied at the end, just like a good meal, and just saying, and the ending of this book too was a great finale, a great ending of this. I'll just put it that way. I really enjoyed the conclusion where, the be-all, end-all of things happen. So yes, I would definitely recommend you check out The Loop by Jeremy Robert Johnson. I would really like to get into his other stuff. Entropy in Bloom, In the River, I think was another one. So I really want to get to the rest of his catalog. So please go check out The Loop by Jeremy Robert Johnson. I would give this 4.5 stars. I really loved it. It definitely is kind of like a zombie meets Stranger Things, but kicked up a notch. Like if Stranger Things were more about older kids in high school, boosted up on steroids a little bit. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. So go check out The Loop by Jeremy Robert Johnson. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye.